Actually, we didn't do a very good job. But we had school kids coming down in buses to tour the boat. Then we had to move the boat from Long Beach to a harbor up toward Los Angeles. And we were showing them we had buses coming down. But the surge was so bad in that harbor that we were literally pulling islands on the ground. And so they said, you got to leave here. So we thought, well, shoot, nowhere to go. We're not making any money. Ira Down, who was an operation manager, by the way, we had finished our hydrofoil boat. Well, we sold the patent rights for $1 million. They only paid the first 100,000, didn't pay any more. So Ira had to go back to foreclose that, right, and build hydrofoil boats for the New York World Fair. Uh, so anyway, we decided to, since I was going back there, I got married. As soon as I got home, um, I had been gone 4 months instead of 1 month. I had a great big fishbowl in my apartment full of tide pool stuff, sea anemone, crabs, uh, anything you can find in a tide pool, and some neon goldie fish for cuddling, and a big bowl on 30 inches across. And my girlfriend, when I left, said, can I stay in your apartment while you're gone? And I said, sure. And I had a beautiful view up Newport Harbor, 5 miles, right up, straight up the harbor, great apartment. And so I said, sure, you can stay here. So when I got back, I called her, I was coming, we'll go in the apartment. And my fish bowl has a giant sea anemone and a lot of shells in the bottom of it. And I said, what happened? You were supposed to feed my fish. And she said, well, you said you were going to be a month. 4 months now. I got tired. I'm out there. And, for a while it's fun, but yeah, kind of quit coming. So I said, well, I've been gone 4 months and you're happy about that. I was back east building hydrofoil boats for New York for a fair and starting to get involved with some Russian hydrofoils. I would have to go back with Ira. And she said, well, if you're going to back with him, you can forget about me. I've waited long enough. I said, what do you mean? You want to get married? He says, yes. I said, okay. So we got married. And so anyway, we decided to sell everything. And the Potomac, our Catalina boats. We only owned two boats, Long Beach and Newport Beach. There was a boat we hired, or the boat name's captain who owned it. But so we sold everything, and I was walking out of the office of our lawyer one day, and I bumped into a guy in the street that I had on the sidewalk that I had known, and I said, "Gee, dude, running into him." And he said, "Well, the old uh, blind hog is finally found an acorn, and he'd gotten 160 acres in Santa Maria." He said, "I'm going to build fourplexes." He says, "You're just the guy I need. I need a financial man. You can be financial officer of the company, and I'll give you half of it. And come to Santa Maria and build fourplexes." So I did. So everybody's going their separate ways, and then with the Potomac, we decided to have an auction, and we did, and we sold the auction. We sold the Potomac to Elvis Presley. There's some papers here. You can look at that if you want to. There's Elvis and Danny Thomas uh, on the boat. Potomac signs I above their head. And the auction went on, and Elvis bought it for $55,000. And his purpose was to give it to Danny Thomas for the St. Jude's Children's Hospital down south. The they called the hospital to tell them that, and they said, "Wait a minute, we don't want that. That's a liability. It's not an asset." And so Danny went back to Elvis and said, "Do you mind if I sell the boat and give the hospital the cash?" Elvis said, "Fine, go ahead." Well, Danny sold the boat for $85,000. Elvis had paid 55, so he made 30 grand. So he gave that, sold the boat, and gave that money to the hospital. And my story is supposed to end there. Barbados to Elvis. So if you have any questions, I'm here. If you want to look at any pictures, help yourself, answer questions, come on. But the official show is over.